y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey. It's been a moment since I've been on here doing a live reading of Ask and It Is Given. I've read a really good portion of this book. We are now on chapter 19. This book, since I started reading it, and I know I started reading it over here on YouTube. Say hey YouTube, hey TikTok. On occasion I would join in on TikTok to read this book to you guys, and I can honestly say, between this book and another book I had, which was called The Cheat Code by T.W. Kane, I have seen exponential growth and change in my life. But this book right here, when I started reading Asking It Is Given, um, I was really hoping and manifesting to reach a level in my content creation that I hadn't reached before. And it was funny to me because each time I would stop reading the book, when I would pick it up and start reading again, the chapter that I was reading was like spot on with where I was in that moment in time that I needed to elevate. So now today that I'm on chapter 19, I'm joining back in with my YouTube family, and I have my TikTok family here. And this is on process 19, which is releasing resistance to become free of debt. Baby, we all need to be free of debt. I know me. Especially. My car is paid for, but it's it's giving me issues right now. So I'm like, okay, God, I don't know what we're doing, but I'm gonna trust you to do it, okay? But I know I have credit card debt that I want to pay off, and if I just think, just off the top of my head, it's not quite 20,000, but I know it's over 10,000. So I have between $10,000 and $20,000 in credit card debt that I want to pay off. I know I have student loan debt now. I know a lot of us probably got student loan debt, and I know I owe Auntie Sally Mae over $100,000 because I was in college for 20 years and several degrees, and I was a single parent trying to make it. So I had to take out those student loans to be able to pay for school and to buy my books, but also to give me that cushion that I needed to take care of my family because I wasn't able to work the two jobs. A lot of people took the route of working two jobs to make ends meet. I decided, hey, I'm not going to work two jobs. I'm going to work a job. I'm going to run my salon. So I ran my business as a salon owner, and an operator. And then I went to school. So I would basically work in corporate America. Then I would leave in the evening, get to the salon about 5:30 in the evening. But then 2 to 3 days out the week, I was going to school. I was in college. So my life has always been this situation where I was constantly trying to stay ahead of the ball instead of getting ran over. Hey, Emmanuel and Derek, how y'all doing over here? Um, so hey, I should have put my glasses on because I can hardly see. But hey, over on YouTube, and hey, over on TikTok. On YouTube, we have 27 people. We have 1,800 people on TikTok. So just to give you guys a quick understanding before we jump into chapter 19, which is the live reading that's going to be on, which is releasing resistance to become debt free. Asking It Is Given is learning to manifest your desires. It's by Jerry and Esther Hicks. Now, Jerry Hicks is now passed on, and he's a spirit guide for Esther. Esther, I actually listened to a lot of Esther Hicks, which Esther does. What's the word I want to use? Abraham speaks through Esther, so to speak. And it's really ironic because when I pull up the videos on YouTube, those videos, they're for me in that moment in time. It's always what I need to hear. I had the pleasure of going to an Abraham Hicks conference in Dallas, Texas, which I became a graduate because something that Abraham said at the very end of that conference, it resonated with me. Um, it resonated with me. So I knew that it was time for me to understand that I need to start sharing my manifestation journey with other people. But what was said is you don't need to come to another Abraham Hicks conference. And it resonated with me because everyone that went on stage to ask a question, I was given the answer like in my head. And I was like, oh, this is what they're going through. And everything that I was saying in my head was resonated through Abraham, because that's the same thing that spoke to them. So I'm like, I need to start helping people. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you for the love. Start helping people on their manifestation journey as I continue on mine. So, with that said, we're going to go ahead and get on into the reading, because I can tell you guys about my manifestation journey like forever, because I've went from glory to glory to glory to glory, as they say. And even though when I have those pitfalls in life, because we can't always be up, we have the, life is kind of like the stock market. You're going to be up, you're going to be down, you're going to be up, you're going to be down, you're going to be up, you're going to be down. But I realize, as long as you don't shit on anyone on the ride up, baby, the ride down is just as lovely. It's just as nice. It's just as wonderful, because you get to experience things all over again, but you get to experience them from a different place in that particular moment in time. Um, and I'm gonna give this example. Like, my car started giving me issues, and I had to walk. I had the option to either walk to the store, or I could have called public transportation. But I decided to walk because I needed to get some coolant because my car was running hot. But as I walked, I found joy in walking. And in one street I was walking down, I said, "Oh, this is so pretty." They had the trees with the blooms and the flowers. And I said, "Oh, well, in my mind, I'm just going to imagine that I'm walking the streets of Paris with my significant other, and we're headed to a bistro to have lunch." And that made the walk even more better. And as I arrived to my destination, the thing that came to me that I'm going to share with you all today was, a lot of times we listen to the GPS of life. And the GPS of life is listen to your friends, your family, your coulda, shoulda, wouldas. And then you realize that, no, I need to look and listen to my IGS, which is your internal guidance system. I need to listen to what I know is best. So I was using my GPS on this walk, and it kept telling me to go straight, but I kept saying it just feels like it's taking me the long way. So I kept just switching and doing what I wanted to do. Didn't know where I was going, mind you, but I decided I'm gonna listen to my IGS and not the GPS. So the GPS was steady telling me to turn and go this way, and I'm like, but AutoZone is right here in front of me. Why is it telling me to go? So it was telling me to take this long way around to go around the corner in order to come to the front of the store. And my IGS said, "Look, it's right there. Just keep walking straight and cut through this parking lot, and you're there." And that's when I had that download of the GPS versus the IGS. So I hope that resonated with you. And now we're going to go ahead and get into the reading. I do believe when I do these particular readings, the people that should be here are the ones that are here. And I try to capture the comments as much as I can, but we're going to go ahead and get in to process 19, releasing resistance to become debt free. This is where we're reading, and this is a pretty thick book, so this is how far I've come in my journey. And I just started reading this book this year, just like a few months ago. And I remember one day reading on here on YouTube, and someone said, "You're going to go far." Everyone that I know that has read that book goes so far. And I can say now, in my content creation journey, I'm where I was desiring to be at that moment in time. I'm there now. And now I need to manifest, what do I want that next moment to be? So, when to use this process. When you want to experience the relief of being debt free, I definitely do. When you want to create a larger spread between what you earn and what you spend, I definitely do. When you want to feel better about money, I definitely do. When you want to increase the flow of money through your experience, I definitely do. So I am right here in this moment in time where I need to understand process 19 so I can start implementing that in my manifestation journey. So your current emotional set point range. Chapter 22 in the books talks about the emotional set point range. As you're reading through the processes, it'll tell you when this process is best. So this is what it's going to go over. This process to become free of debt will be of the most value to you when your emotional set point is ranging somewhere between frustration, irritation, impatience, and fear, grief, depression, despair, powerlessness. Now, I am in the set point of frustration because I'm frustrated that my car, that is completely paid for, is having issues. And the reason I'm frustrated is because I always take my car to Mercedes Benz to be serviced. So when I was driving and it said that my car was running hot and the coolant was low, and I'm like, how is the coolant low? I just had an oil change. So now I'm like, so have I been paying them $200 something for an oil change, but they haven't even been topping off my coolant? I wouldn't know that. I'm not a car person. So that's my level of frustration. And then that's actually emotional set point 10. And then I'm also at emotional set point 22 where I'm feeling powerlessness because I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Because I don't necessarily want a car payment because I'm trying to pay down debt. And if I take on a new car and a car payment, then what that's going to do is create more debt that I have to deal with. And I don't want to have to deal with that because that's going to put me into fear, grief, and depression because that's another bill I have to pay. And right now, I'm like, okay, I have this credit card debt, I have these student loans, I have these land payments, I got these kids. Like the money ain't money in the way I need it to money with inflation. So I am at these emotional set point ranges for me to be able to activate and understand this particular thing. So it says if you're not sure what your current emotional set point is, turn back to chapter 22 and scan the 22 categories on the emotional guidance scale. So I am at 10 and 22 on the emotional guidance scale. To begin the process of releasing resistance to become debt free of debt, obtain a columnar, I hope I said that right, writing pad with as many columns as you have monthly expenditures. So that's basically saying get a book that has a column. So for each column, you're probably going to put whatever that expenditure is in that column, and there's going to be something to do. So let's keep reading. Now, beginning in the far left column, write a heading that describes your largest monthly outgo. Well, for me, it's rent. Okay, rent is $2,400 a month. I pay $2,400 a month, but I love where I live at. It's high. It's only a one bedroom apartment. But I like waking up and being able to see the Houston skyline. I love going into my front room and sitting on the couch and seeing the Houston skyline. I love being able to be in my kitchen cooking and seeing the Houston skyline. I love sitting down to work for the day and looking out the window and seeing the Houston skyline. I love going out to my super large patio and seeing the Houston skyline in about a 180 degree. Like I love that. So that's something that I'm willing to pay for because that brings me peace. When I'm having an anxiety attack, I just go out to my patio and I take in my deep breaths. And usually before I start this reading, so let's do that now. Usually before I start this reading, I ask everyone to just take a moment and take 3 breaths. Hey Lakina, take 3 deep breaths. And what that does, it allows you to relax yourself and take in the information so you can apply it the way you need to apply it. So let's go ahead and take our deep breaths. I do have some frequency music playing in the background. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it or not, but I definitely hear it. This is 1111 megahertz. It's receive unexpected abundance and blessings in your life. So that's the music that's playing. So here we go. And you want to breathe in through your nose and release through your mouth. Take in everything you need and release all that you don't. Okay, let's finish our reading. Decline that there. Okay, so if you went and got your little pad, if you needed to go ahead and draw your columns on there, if you already have a notepad that has the columns, go ahead and do that. And you guys can do this exercise as I'm reading. I'm going to take it all in and do it afterwards, or you can take notes and do it afterwards. So it says, beginning in the far left column, write a heading that describes your largest monthly outgo. And for me, it's rent. So whatever yours may be, that's what you're going to write on yours. For example, if the largest check that you write each month is your house payment, then you would write as a header, house payment. And next, on the first line beneath the header, write the dollar amount of the house payment. Now circle this amount, which represents the amount you are obligated to pay each month, And then on the third line, enter the total outstanding debt for this house payment category. So right now, I'm at zero because my rent for the month of August is paid, and I have not received my invoice to pay the month of September as of yet. So I would put 2,400. I would do house payment. Well, house payment, rent payment, whatever I decide to write, and then I would write below that 2,400. But then I would go below that and write zero because it's paid. Now, when I receive my invoice for September rent, that's when that number would change. But right now, it's zero. Um, so you're going to write the total outstanding amount. Next, enter your second largest payment in the second column, your third largest payment in the third column, and so on. And across the top of your columnar pad, columnar. I think columnar. I hope I'm saying columnar. I'm like a column. Don't you hate when you get a word? It's like, how do you say that? So I feel like I'm saying it wrong, so I'll figure it out. Um, Write the following affirmation. So this is the affirmation that you're going to use, and this is what I love about asking it is given. It gives you a lot of affirmations to use, and these affirmations will resonate with you. And sometimes you'll be walking around and you'll just start thinking and saying the affirmation unknowingly, and that's because it's manifesting for you. So this is the affirmation. It is my desire to keep my promise regarding all of these financial obligations, and in some cases I would even do twice as much as required. So I'm going to say that again in case anyone wants to write it down. It is my desire to keep my promise regarding all of these financial obligations. And in some cases, I would even do twice as much as is required. Thank you for the follow. Each time you receive a bill, get out your columnar pad and adjust, if necessary, the minimum monthly amount that is required. If it stays the same, then write the same figure. So when it comes to my credit cards, I would write down Discover. Right now, my Discover card is max to capacity. So I will write down the 11,000 or whatever it is that I owe on my Discover card. Excuse me. Then beneath that, I will write what is my minimum monthly payment. And then I will move over and I will do the same for my Capital One cards and then all of my other credit cards. And then I will need to do it for my student loans. And then my light bill. And then my mom, because I help my mom pay her bills. And then my kids, because I have a 16-year-old, so I have to put his allowance in there because he's a bill. And I need to put me down because I'm a bill. Be sure when you're doing this, write you down. Do not leave yourself out to understand that you are a bill. And you might be saying, well, what do you mean I'm a bill? When you like to go eat brunch, brunch is going to cost money. Therefore, that's the bill that you're paying. It's a luxury, but it's still a bill. If you like to go shop, that's the bill. If you're planning a trip or you're traveling or something like that, that's a bill. So put in your expenses for the month as well. So generally, my expenses that I was doing, and unfortunately, I can't do it right now, so I had to take a step back. But I gave myself an allowance of $500 every month. That $500 covered my hair getting done, because I used to keep a lot of braids in my hair. It covered my hair getting done. It covered my nails. It covered my pedicure. It covered me going to brunch every week. It covered if I wanted to go and shop, and I really wasn't shopping that much. But if I wanted to buy some new perfume, or if I want to go buy a new dress or something like that, and then if I didn't use that whole $500 that month, I still gave myself another $500 the following month, and then whatever was left over, I added over. So if I decided to go buy a pair of luxury shoes, which I was buying the tennis shoes, if the shoes were $800, I would save up the $800. If they were $1,100, I would save up. So be sure to add you in. Just like if you own a business, they say pay yourself first. What's the purpose of having a business if you never have money for you? you might as well just go work for someone else. So you always want to pay you first. So when I'm saying add you in because you are a bill, understand that you are a bill as well. So the first time you receive a bill, or when it is time to make your payment for the category that is on the far right column of your pad, in other words, the smallest payment you make each month, write the check for exactly twice what is required. And as you do so, write in the new amount of that outstanding balance. So what that means is, say for instance, one of my credit cards, the minimum payment is $35 a month. So it says write twice that amount. So instead of me paying $35, I would pay $70. Now, what this reminds me of, if you guys have ever heard of the snowball effect, it reminds me of the snowball effect. So say for instance, if I had a credit card, and I actually have one, I have a credit card. Sorry, I have a credit card that the limit is $500. The minimum payment is $35. So instead of me paying $35, I would pay $70 because 35 times 2 is 70. So I would pay the $70 toward that $500 balance. So once I pay the $70, my balance is now $430. So that's what I would do on that particular column. This may seem a little strange to you when you first begin to play the game. So it's a game. But even if you do not have enough money to pay everything you owe in all the columns, still double the payment in the far right column and feel glad that you have kept your new promise to yourself to do your best to pay everything you owe and to do even twice that amount in some cases. So it's not saying in every case double it. It's saying in that far right column, because you're going to write everything down from your highest expense starting in the left column going all the way over to your lowest expense, which would be in your far right column. So whatever that expense is in the far right column, whatever that minimum payment is, that's the payment that you're going to double. So you'll double that. So even if you can only double one payment, you have completed this sentence. Feel glad that you have kept your new promise to yourself to do your best to pay everything you owe and to do even twice that amount in some cases. And in some cases, you may only be able to do that for one expense. But if you can do it for two, then do it for two, do it for three. But just be happy that you can just do it for one. Because gratitude is the attitude. That's why I always say gratitude will always be my attitude. Because I'm going to be happy that I have the ability to double something. So instead of me going out somewhere and spending that $35, I'll sit in the house and know that, hey, I was able to pay $70 instead of the $35, and I can just have fun in the house that I'm paying $2,400 a month and enjoy this beautiful view. And maybe I'll just go buy a nice bottle of wine. Trader Joe's has some really good $3.99 wine. So maybe I only had $5 left over, and I went and bought a bottle of wine and I sit out on the patio. That's gratitude. Gratitude should always be your attitude. Positive vibes, positive emotions brings manifestation forward. Because you are looking at your finances in a way that is new, your vibration will begin to shift right away. As you feel even the slightest bit of pride for keeping your word, your vibration will shift. As you keep your promise about doubling up on payments, your vibration will shift. And with this shift, even if it is slight, things will begin to change in your financial condition. So remember, gratitude should always be your attitude. You want to be thankful, you want to be positive, and you want to be high vibrational. Negative emotions are low vibrational, so I try to stay away from low vibrational things and things that are going to piss me off or make me mad. I try to stay in a high vibrational mindset. Now, sometimes I'm human, so sometimes I helter skelter. I'm on 100, but I generally come back down and I rethink, and I'm like, that wasn't really the right thing to do. But I'm generally trying to do the right thing before it gets to that point. If you will take the time to really enter everything you owe on the columnar pad, Your newly focused attention will begin to positively activate circumstances around the subject of money for you. Instead of feeling discouraged as you find yet another bill in your mailbox, you will feel an eagerness to enter the bill on your columnar pad. And with this shift in attitude and vibration, things will begin to change in your financial picture. Now, I don't know about y'all. I don't like getting bills in the mail. I don't even really like paying bills. But I know it's the necessary evil of being an adult. So, this particular paragraph that I just read pretty much said, be happy when you get a bill. When you get a bill, just start to think, oh, wow, that means that God in the universe is about to send me some more money because I have another debt to pay and I'm not supposed to have any debt. So, by me writing it down on that columnar pad, that is my signal to the universe. Hey, I need you to send what I need to take care of this. So this is how I'm interpreting. So as I'm reading this, I'm giving you all my interpretation of how I interpret when I read this particular book and how I actually execute the things that I'm supposed to do in the book. Money that you were not expecting will appear in your experience. See, didn't I just tell you guys that? This is what I'm reading. This is literally what I'm reading. So my interpretation, it generally ends up being spot on. Because as I read, I take time to soak it in, interpret it, and then continue reading. So this is a book. So let me just be clear. This is a book that you just don't want to. It is not that kind of book. Okay, this is the kind of book that you want to read and then you want to stop, think, ask yourself some questions. Well, what does that mean? How does that resonate with me? How do I feel about that? And then once you are satisfied with your interpretation of what you read, then continue reading. This is not a book that you want to sit down and read out. When you feel, hey, this particular reading is good, that's why it's taken me a moment to read through the book, because there would be moments that I would read and then I would just stop and say, okay, I feel like I'm good, and I would put the book down and then I would switch over to another book because I'm a bookworm. It's okay. I'm a nerdette. It's okay. But then when I pick the book up, it's always right on the chapter that I need. Like right now, I picked it up and I'm right on that chapter that I need, which we are on process 19, releasing resistance to become debt free. Like I've read through all the chapters. I'm going through the processes now. So there's 22, if I'm not mistaken, there's 22 chapters in here. Let me just confirm for you all. Yeah, there's 22 chapters. And then part 2 is processes to help you achieve what you now remember. And that's what we're going through. And there's a total of 22 processes. And I'm on process 19. And then after I finish this reading, I'm going to go through and tell you all about the different chapters that are in the book and kind of give you a quick synopsis of each chapter just from my memory. And if you're on TikTok, if you would like to purchase the book, I have the link right there on the live for you to go ahead and purchase. I also have a link if you want to just see some of the other things that are in my TikTok shop. You can go in and look at those items as well. So, money that you were not expecting will appear in your experience. Bargains will reveal themselves, so your dollars will go further than you expected. All kinds of unusual financial things will occur, and when they do, be consciously aware that these things are happening in response to your newly focused attention and the resultant shift in your vibration. So when you think high vibration, high vibrational things will occur. As extra money appears, you will find yourself eager to apply another payment to the far right column. So remember, if you guys aren't connected to the snowball effect, it's paying the least amount of debt first. And once that's paid off, the money you were using for that smaller debt, you then roll it over to the next debt. And before you know it, your debt is paid off. So as extra money appears, you will find yourself eager to apply another payment to the far right column. And soon that debt will be paid and you can eliminate that column from your pad. Column after column will disappear as your financial gap between what is coming in and what is going out widens. Your sense of financial well being will improve on the first day you play this game. I'll be playing this game today. So when this live ends, this is what I will be doing. And if you will take the game seriously, your vibration around money will shift so significantly that you can be debt free in a short time if that is your desire. Now, as I'm reading this to you all, what is resonating, and like how to say, I feel it in my belly, is that by the end of this year, I will be debt free. Like all of my credit card debt will be paid off. I have two student loans. One of those student loans will be paid off. If I can pay off the second one, that one will be paid off as well. My land, I have 20.28 acres of land. That will be paid off. Like my goal is to have that paid off by the end of this year. Now I don't know if the 20 acres, but the point 0.2 acres definitely can be paid off. But I'm going to trust and believe that the 20 acres will be paid off as well. There's nothing wrong with debt, but if your debt feels like a heavy burden, then your vibration around money is one of resistance. When the burden has lifted, when you feel lighter and freer, your resistance has lifted. And you are now in the position to allow the well being to flow abundantly into your experience. So when you have resistance around debt, that means when you get money, you want to hold on to it. You want to hoard it. You don't want to release it. And you definitely want to have a free flow mindset when it comes to money, which means even though it's going out, you know that it's going to come back in. So as Reverend Ike would say, you want your money to circulate, which means you get the money, you spend the money, but you know the money is going to come back to you because you're circulating the money where it needs to go. So I hope that resonated with someone. Abraham, speak to us more about money and the economy. As we mentioned in process 17, it is easy to create a castle as a button. It is just a matter of whether you are focused on a castle or a button. But it can also be as satisfying to create a button as a castle. And whether it is a castle or a button, if you're using it as your object of attention, it is summoning the life force, and the feeling of the life force is what life is about. The reason that you are summoning it is inconsequential. Now, 17, I'm going to go back here so I can give you guys the title. 17. Process 17 was the focus wheel. And that was you really right now what you wanted to focus on. So again, if you want to understand asking it is given and how to manifest the life that you desire, I highly recommend getting this book. YouTube, you guys can go over to TikTok. My TikTok shop has this book available, and if I'm not mistaken, the book is $15. I should have double checked, but I actually have two books. One of them that are linked is almost sold out, which is why I linked the other book. But I tried to link every seller that is offering this book, so it's available on the TikTok shop, because I didn't want anyone to run into, hey, the book is sold out, it's not available. So TOT Styles on all social media platforms. So YouTube, hey you guys, you can go over to my TikTok shop and order the book from there. And I do earn a commission when I'm selling from my TikTok shop. So I want to be sure that you all understand that I am sharing this, but I'm also manifesting revenue to come into my experience. And this is one of the things that I am using as a tool in order to produce that revenue to help me pay off the debt that I need to pay off. But this is a book that I definitely use on a regular basis. And I was shocked because I was like, wait a minute, this is on the TikTok shop? I'm always reading this book. So I'm like, oh, I can actually link it for people to purchase it if they want to purchase it. I can, put it right there for people to go ahead and purchase it. So going back over here, Abraham is talking to us about the economy. So what about creating a very positive current of financial abundance? What about getting so good at visualizing that the money flows through you easily? What about expending money and giving more people opportunity? What better way could anyone spend money than by putting it back into the economy that gives more people work? The more you spend, the more people benefit, and the more people get in on the game and dovetail with you. Now, is that not what I just said about circulating? So remember how I said when you read the book, you want to take a moment to think, resonate, see how it kind of imparts into you, and then continue reading. And when I do that, every time the chapter that I read or the paragraph after that, it always confirms what just resonated with me. Your role is to utilize energy. That is why you exist. You are an energy flowing being, a focuser, a perceiver. You are a creator, and there is nothing worse in all of the universe than to come forth into the environment of great contrast where desire is easily born and not allow energy to flow to your desire. That is a true squandering of life. There is no high work or low work. There are just opportunities to focus. You can feel as fulfilled and satisfied in any task as in any other, for you are on the leading edge of thought and source is flowing through you. No matter what your endeavor is, you can be joyful at any endeavor where you decide to allow the energy to flow. Spiritual versus material are not the choices. Everything about this physical manifestational experience is spiritual. It is all the end product of spirit. You have nothing to prove. Be the spiritual you and create like a physical thing. Now, what create like a physical thing? What does that mean? That means create. Whatever you feel like you need to create. If you need to create a more positive space in your house and you feel that, hey, I think I need to go get a plant for in here, be okay with spending that money to go and purchase a plant, because that plant is part of you creating the space that you need to continue to manifest. And know that the money that you spend on the plant, it's going to come back to you because you're circulating it for a good purpose. Your financial decline will not elevate the impoverished. Think about what the economy was like in this nation a few hundred years ago. A few hundred years ago. A few hundred years ago, this economy was completely different than what it is now. A few hundred years ago, people made their own clothes. A few hundred years ago, people grew their own food. They made almost everything. A few hundred years ago, we had a bartering system that was in place. People didn't really even use money. If you served herbs and you needed oil, you would go to someone and say, hey, let me exchange these herbs for some of your oil. So it was always a give and a give. It wasn't a give and a take. It was a give and a give. And I think the world now is more a give and a take. You have people that are just going to take. And you have people that are going to give. But you don't have people that understand that it should be a give and a give. I'm going to give you this, and you're giving me something in return. There are some people that you give and they take, but they never give anything back. That is not a good relationship. So that's something that you have to realize that, wait a minute, I think the energy that I'm giving out is not being returned or replenished. And you have to decide, is this where I'm supposed to be circulating my energy? Because your energy is a currency. Your time is a currency. A lot of people think money is the biggest and the best thing in the world. It's not. It's time. Because once you spend your time, you can't get that back. You can spend your money and go make it again. You can lose your money and go make it again. But if you spend your time and lose your time, that's time lost. It will not return. Your energy, once you spend your energy somewhere and that energy is not returned, you have to figure out how to go and replenish your energy. So people need to understand that time is a currency. Energy is a currency. Money is a currency. So you have to understand there's different currencies in this life that we all use. But time is one currency that you can never get back once it's spent. We all get 24 hours in a day. And when the clock strikes midnight, that time, however you spent it, that's the end of it. and then you have to wait for it to be replenished. And when you go to glory, that means your time was not replenished. You went back into the spirit realm. You have to wait to see what your next assignment will be. We never hear any of you say, well, I've been well for so many years that I've decided that I'm going to be sick for a while to allow some other people to be well. Because you know that whether you are well or not does not have anything to do with others not getting enough wellness. You are not using up the wellness and depriving them of it. And it is the same thing with the abundance. People who have managed to find vibrational harmony with abundance so that it is flowing to them and through them are not depriving anyone else of that abundance. You cannot get poor enough to help the impoverished people thrive. It is only in your thriving that you have anything to offer anyone. If you want to be of help to others, be as tapped in, tuned in, and turned on as you can possibly be. And as the great Reverend Ike said, a poor person can't help a poor person. Meaning, if someone's poor and they're wanting something to eat, if you're poor too and wanting something to eat, how can you help that person? But if you have enough abundance that you're eating and you can now offer someone else something to eat, you are now able to help a person. So some people think, oh, well, God didn't want anyone to be rich. That's not true. God wants us all to be rich in different ways. So it's not just money that wealth is built. Wealth is what's understood. But I think if you're wealthy and you're sad, are you really wealthy? And if you have just enough and you're happy, aren't you just as wealthy as the wealthiest person in the world? Think about it. Feel appreciation for those who provide examples of well-being. How would you know that prosperity was possible if there was not some evidence of it around you? It is all part of the contrast that helps you sharpen your desire. Money is not the root of happiness, but it is not the root of evil either. Money is the result of how somebody lines up energy. If you do not want money, do not attract it. But we say to you that your criticism of others who have money holds you in a place where things you do want, such as wellness, clarity, and well-being, cannot come to you either. If the subject of money makes you uncomfortable when you think about it, it means that there is a strong desire related to it, which means that it really, really, really matters. So finding a way to think about it and feel good is your work, but it is equally effective to think about anything else and feel good. And let it in. You do not have to think about money in order to let in money. You just cannot think about lack of money and let in money. So I always feel I have more than enough. Even when I don't know how I'm going to do it. I just be like, I know I got enough. I know what's going to happen. And I don't know why, but that has always been my mindset. So I have always manifested finances. I don't get upset about finances. I don't argue with people about finances because I just know that I know it's going to continue to come. It's going to continue to come. It's going to continue to come. I pay what I need to pay because I know it's going to continue to come. It's going to continue to come. It's going to continue to come. I help who I can help because I know it's going to continue to come. It's going to continue to come. It's going to continue to come. That has always been my mindset. So money is something that I have never had a true lack of. Now, I might go in the store and can't buy what I need, like a designer bag or something like that. But do I really need it? No. Because I've purchased designer bags and then I get it, and a month later I'm like, yeah, I don't really like it no more. Like, I have so many designer bags in my closet, I don't even carry them anymore. This is what I carry most of the time now. This little bag that cost me about $15 at TJ Maxx. I have all these designer bags. I don't even carry them. It's like I don't need it. So it's just a mindset thing. So once you get the mindset together, you'll start to notice different things will flow in continuously for you. Success is about the joy you feel. When we love seeing you applauding someone else's success, because when you are genuinely thrilled by it, that means you are right on the track of your own. Many think that success means getting everything you want, everything they want. And we say that this is what dead is, and there is no such thing as that kind of dead. Success is not about getting it done, it is about still dreaming and feeling positive in the unfolding. The standard of success in life is not the money or the stuff. The standard of success is absolutely the amount of joy you feel. I try to be joyful every day, every single day. I try to be happy. I try to find a reason to smile. I love the glow that I have. And it's just because I look for happiness. I look to stay positive. I don't see the glass half empty. I see the glass half full. That's just my mindset. And gratitude will always be my attitude. You can say things such as, when I look at successful people, and by that I mean rich people, yes, and I mean happy people. Sometimes they are rich and happy. When I'm talking about the successful ones, what I really mean is the really happy people. People who are really joyful, who are eager to get on with their day. Almost all of them, without exception, had a pretty rough beginning, which turned them into powerful rebels initially. Then they found a way to relax into their natural birthright of well being. Success is about a happy life, and a happy life is just a string of happy moments. But most people do not allow the happy moments because they are so busy trying to get a happy life. Look at that, 7 a.m. already. Your action has nothing to do with your abundance. Instead of earning abundance, allow abundance. This is what I'm about to read. Instead of earning abundance, allow abundance. Your action has nothing to do with your abundance. Your abundance is a response to your vibration. Of course, your belief is part of your vibration. So if you believe that action is part of what brings you abundance, then you have to unravel that. We would like you to release the word earn from your vocabulary and your understanding altogether, and we would like you to replace it with the word allow. You want to allow your well being. It is not something that you need to earn. All you have to do is decide what you would like to experience and then allow it in order to receive it. It is not something you have to struggle or try for. You are all worthy beings and you are deserving of this well being. All the resources you will ever want or need are at your fingertips. All you have to do is identify what you want to do with it and then practice the feeling place of what it will be like when this happens, when that happens. There is nothing you cannot be, do, or have. You are blessed beings. And you have come forth into this physical environment to create. There is nothing holding you back other than your own contradictory thoughts. And your emotion tells you whenever you have such thoughts. Life is supposed to be fun. It is supposed to feel good. You are powerful creators and you are right on schedule. Savor more, fix less. Laugh more, cry less. Anticipate positively more. Anticipate negatively less. Nothing is more important than that you feel good. Just practice that and watch what happens. So, that was chapter 19, not chapter 19, process 19, releasing resistance to become debt free. Now, to give you a quick synopsis of each of these 22 chapters, and Dr. Wayne Dyer, he actually wrote the foreword for this book. And this is something that I highlighted, so I'm going to read this. It says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that was very powerful for me because I had to change the way I looked at a lot of things. And now they look different to me. So, chapter one is about the power of feeling good now, because you want to be in the now moment all the time. You don't want to get stuck in the past. Some people get stuck in the past and things that happened in the past and they just cannot move forward. Some people get stuck in the future and they're studying trying to figure out the future that they miss the present. So you want to stay in the right here now moment. That's what chapter one is about. Chapter two, are we keeping our promise to you? We are reminding you of who you are. So that particular chapter actually helps you understand who you are and connect to your purpose. Chapter three, you do create your own reality. It helps you understand your mindset. Your mindset is going to help you connect to your reality. If you look at everything from a negative mindset and a negative belief, a limited belief, then that's what you're going to have. But if you look at everything through an abundance mindset, a growth mindset, a positive mindset, then that's what you're going to have. Chapter four, how can I get there from here? That particular chapter helps you understand where you're at and where you want to go. And then it helps you connect to the right here now moment to start to switch that moment so you can get to where you're trying to go. Chapter 5, the simple basis is understanding. The simple basis of understanding makes it all fit together. So that really brought in chapter 1 through 4 for you to really hone in on who you are as a person. Chapter 6, the law of attraction. If you don't know about the law of attraction, it's a wonderful thing. As a man thinketh, so is he. That particular law is the law of correspondence, and it all deals with mindset. However you think, that's what you get. So that's the law of correspondence. You have the law of polarity, which there's two ends of the stick. There's going to be a positive end and a negative end. The end that you decide to focus on, that's the end that you receive. The law of attraction, a lot of people will say like attracts like. It's not necessarily that. Is that what you desire, you end up attracting. And you make the determination, is this what I wanted or is it not what I wanted? So for me, a lot of times I'll put out these rockets of desires because this is what I want to attract in. And sometimes it comes in and I'm happy with it, but sometimes it comes in and I'm like, okay, well, it's okay, but this is off a little bit. So I have to go and rearrange that I was trying to attract. I have to go and put some clarifications out there. It's like, okay, I know I asked for this, this, and this, but let me clarify. I also want this and this to come with it. So that's the law of attraction, because it's the most powerful law in the universe. There's a lot of universal laws, which I've talked about over here on YouTube a lot. I've talked about a lot about it over here on TikTok in my earlier days. On my earlier days on TikTok, believe it or not, we talked about manifesting. We talked about crystals. We talked about the laws of the universe. That was all I really talked about. And we kept switching. We talked about all of that. And then I was like, I like to cook. So I started cooking and sharing those different manifestation things on TikTok. And one day I was manifesting. And this is how this whole creator thing came to be. On TikTok where I'm at now, I went outside, the sun was rising, and I was meditating. I was listening to my frequency music and I was meditating. And you guys, you'll see this. This particular thing is over on YouTube as well as TikTok. I went to sleep, but when I woke up, I had one ponytail or one braid rather that was laying flat, and the other one just kind of shot out. And and I was just meditating, and then I was like, why my hair look like, how did I wake up like this when I tied it down when I went to sleep? And then I just started thinking about the presidential election. I said, well, this one is laying down kind of like Biden. He need to just lay down. And this one over here is like Trump, and he need to just go and get the hell on. And from there, it just skyrocketed. But that thought to even say that on video, that thought came from my meditation. Now, I had no idea that it was going to take off the way that it took off. But that was something to me that I had to realize. A lot of times that I'm meditating and I'm getting the download of, hey, do this. I'm like, oh, that's stupid. I'm not finna do that. But sometimes it's the stupid stuff that you don't want to do that's gonna propel you to where you want to go. So from that, I have went. At the time I did that particular video, I don't even think I was at 3,000 yet. I might have been slightly over 3,000, and this was just like a month ago. And now I'm like, I think I'm over 5,500 or whatever I'm at. I know I'm definitely over 5,000 on TikTok. And I'm like, that was exponential growth that I have been trying so long. Like, it took me years just to get to the 3,000 I was at. And now for me to go from 3,000 to over an additional 2,000 followers over on TikTok in like a little over a month, from being obedient to what I was hearing in my meditation. So this book right here, Asking It Is Given, I promise you, as you read it and you resonate with what's being said and you let it soak in, I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Chapter 7, you are standing on the leading edge of thoughts. Chapter 8, you are a vibrational transmitter and receiver. Chapter 9, the hidden value behind your emotional reactions. Chapter 10, the 3 steps to whatever you want to be, do, or have. And what's funny, this particular chapter, chapter 10, when I read through this chapter, I had to really say, well, what do I really want? And that's when I started really sending out these rockets of desires, where I started getting laser focused on what I wanted. Because I've done so many things, and I was like, well, what's next? What do I want to do? And I was like, yeah, this is kind of what I want to do. And I see me on that path now, and I'm going to continue on that path. Chapter 11, with practice, you will become a joyous, deliberate creator. Chapter 12, your emotional set points are within your control. I always tell people, know your triggers. A lot of people don't know their triggers, and then they don't know why they're always reactive. But when you know your triggers, you know what to walk away from. Like for me, I know when I need to, let me go on, get the hell on. Because if I don't, I might do this. And I don't want to lay hands on people. So I have to know my triggers and know when to walk away. And I may not even lay hands, but I don't want to sit around arguing with people and spewing negative things. Which is why when the Trumpers and the Trumpettes be loud and proud and loud and wrong in the comments, I hit them with receipts. Because you can't argue with me over something that's factual. And if they want to keep going, the block button works. Because that's for my sanity. That's what I have to do. Chapter 13, allow your feelings to be your guide. When you are feeling negative emotion, that is something that you need to understand, is something that you need to deal with. You need to sit down and understand, why am I having this negative emotion? Where is it coming from? And I learned that when I have a dream, if it's a bad dream, that means something negative is coming. And I may not know I'm manifesting something negative, but it's coming. So it helps me prepare for it. So when it comes, I can handle it more in a positive light. I can't really explain it, but when you come across negative things and you transmute negative energy to make it positive, that's pretty much what you're doing. Chapter 14, some things you knew before you arrived. Chapter 15, you are a perfect yet expanding being in a perfect yet expanding world and a perfect yet expanding universe. Chapter 16, you are co-creating within a magnificently diverse universe. Chapter 17, where are you and where do you want to be? Chapter 18, you can gradually change your vibrational frequency. So your vibrational frequency is going to be on that emotional set point range. Where are you vibrating at? And you can change your vibrational frequency. When you know where you're vibrating at, you know what you need to do to vibrate higher. Chapter 19, only you can know how you feel about you. Don't let anybody else tell you how you need to feel about you. Like right now, I'm looking at my hair, for example. Y'all see that? And I know it's for a particular hairstyle, but I'm like, you know what? This look a little crazy, but it look a little cute too. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and rock this out for a couple days, and I'll save the style that I really want to do for the weekend. Can't nobody tell me I look crazy, because I'm like, I might look a little crazy, but I look cute too. So don't let nobody tell you how you feel about you. Chapter 20, trying to hinder another's freedom always costs you your freedom. Do not try to put other people in a box, because what you end up doing is putting yourself in a box. Let people be whoever they're supposed to be. Their calling is their calling. Their path in life, that's their path in life. It's not yours. You might need to give them a word, but you do not control their actions. So you have to just let people be, and you be who you're supposed to be, and keep moving. Otherwise, you get caught up in their box that you're trying to put them in. Chapter 21. You are only 17 seconds away from 68 seconds to fulfillment. That was an awesome chapter, because it helped you understand. A lot of people think, well, if you get rid of a thought in 17 seconds, within 17 seconds, then it's not going to happen. That's not necessarily what it means, and you have to read that chapter to understand that you're 17 seconds away from 68 seconds of fulfillment. So when you start a thought, if you don't like that thought, don't finish it. Replace every negative thought with a positive thought, and focus on the positive thoughts, and then you end up seeing positive fulfillment. Chapter 22, the different degrees of your emotional guidance scale. So that tells you the 22 different emotions that you will have, and it helps you understand where you're at. And what was so ironic when I read that particular chapter in Asking Is Not Given, every time I went to read one, that's exactly where I was at. When I read the one on anger, it was exactly where I was at. I mean, it was exactly where I was at. So it is just, when you get the book, you will find when you pick the book up to read it, you will be reading exactly what you need in that moment in time to help you. And then it goes into part 2, processes to help you achieve what you now remember. So it introduces 22 proven processes that will improve your point of attraction, have you put a happy face on it, and then it takes you through the processes, which we just read through process 19. Thank you so much for the love. So the 19 processes: process number 1, the rampage of appreciation; process 2, the magical creation box; process 3, the creative workshop; process 4, virtual reality; process 5, the prosperity game; process 6, the process of meditation. Now, when I got to process 6, I was like, I really don't understand how to meditate. And as I read it, it was so ironic, because a few days prior to that, I was trying to meditate, and I was just like, I just couldn't get it. So the day following that, I just went out on the patio, and I said, I'm just to relax and just chill. And I didn't think about meditating. And I'm sitting on the patio, and I'm sitting in my chair, and for some reason I kept feeling like I was floating, and I kept jumping, and I was like, what is going on? I didn't understand it, but when I read that particular process, the process of meditation, it spoke to that sometimes when you're in a good deep meditation, you'll feel as if you're floating or about to fall. And I said, oh my God. So I was meditating, not knowing I was meditating. I thought I was just relaxing. I had my frequency music playing. So that chapter was very helpful to me. So now when I go to meditate, I don't necessarily have in my mind, like, okay, I'm going to meditate. I got to think about this, or I got to meditate. I'm like, I'm just going to relax. I'm just going to relax, and I'm just going to listen and relax. And so as I'm relaxing, I'll start to get downloads. And some of the stuff is funny, and some of the stuff is like, ooh, and some of the stuff is like, oh. But you have to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Chapter 7, evaluating dreams. And that's when I learned that, hey, Just because you have a bad dream, it does not mean that that particular dream is going to happen. Some people are clairvoyant. Um, Sometimes when you have a negative dream, it means something negative. You're attracting something negative, and it's coming in, and you may unknowingly know, not knowingly know that you are manifesting something negative, but it's preparing you for it. So that's what I learned in that particular process. Process 8, the book of positive aspects. Process number 9, scripting. Process 10, the placemat process. Process 11, segment intending. Segment intending is basically every time something happens, it's a different segment in your life. Like right now, this is a segment. I'm sitting down and I'm reading this book on YouTube and TikTok. But if my son was to walk in the room right now, that's another segment. If I was to get up and decide to go into my closet and leave you guys here, that's another segment. When my alarm rung, that was another segment. So every time something changes in the realm of where you're at in that moment, that's a new segment. So that segment intending, it tells you more about that. Process 12, wouldn't it be nice if? Now, I like playing wouldn't it be nice if, because it helps you understand when you have a negative thought, how to replace it with a positive thought. So in that particular one, I was like, I'm tired of being single, but how do I fix that? And then I just read through that and it said, well, just start playing the wouldn't it be nice if game. And then I said, wouldn't it be nice if? And I started putting different things in place. And it wasn't so much a relationship that I was putting in place, it was more of me building friendships. Wouldn't it be nice if I had a friend that I could go to a nice jazz concert with and just have a good time? And I started doing things like that, and that actually changed my emotional set point range in regards to my relationship status. So it's like, hey, I'm happily single. It's okay. It is what it is. Process 13, which thoughts feels better? Process 14, the process of clearing clutter for clarity. Process 15, the wallet process. Process 16, pivoting. Process 17, the focus wheel process. Process 18, finding the feeling place. Process 19, releasing resistance to become free of debt, which is what we read today. Process 20, turning it over to the manager. It's going to be interesting to see what that one's about. Process 21, reclaiming one's natural state of health. And process 22, moving up the emotional scale. And then it has one last thing. It gives you a glossary and about the authors. So that is Asking It Is Not, Asking It Is Given. And this is about learning to manifest your desires. It's the #1 New York Times best-selling book by Jerry and Esther Hicks. Jerry is now on the spirit side. Esther is still here. And Abraham actually speaks through Esther. So I hope you all enjoyed the reading. I'm going to go ahead and get ready for my day. It was such a pleasure just connecting with you all. If you want to buy the book, it is available in the TikTok shop. I have the link right there in the live video. I'm going to check over here on my YouTube to see if I missed any messages, which I knew they were popping up, but there they are. Latrice, Grand Rising. I'm just tuning in, but like the vibe so far. And she subscribed. Thank you, Latrice. Latrice Tools. Lakina. Hey, Lakina. The one thing I don't like about YouTube is hard to see all the messages. Like they don't stay as good and trying to scroll. Z Mill said, thanks for channels and streams like this. Good content. Hello to Karan 3203. Thiopathy VJ. Lakina Criswell. Thank you. Lakina, thank you so much. She said relaxing. She gave me a heart. She said thank you for sharing. I appreciate you all. So thank you all for joining me over here on YouTube. I'm going to go get ready for the day. You all have a blessed and wonderful day. Love you. Bye.